You're muted.
What's going on, world? It's your boy at Big Game James _36, and this is Big Games B.S. live from South Florida, on the road, doing what we got to do. 7-on-7 season is started. It's Among Us, Battle Miami, 100 kids. This is what the channel's money goes toward. MFTK coming down. We got some good stuff that we're going to be doing today. Battle House. It's cold. It is not South Florida sunny weather down here. I don't know what's going on. I got to tell my son to make sure he packs up stuff. But on this Friday, make sure you guys. I think it's cold front coming all across the southeast. It's snowing some places. So, but hey, on that note, let's start our show off the same way we start our show off each and every day, with a good word of prayer.
You already know what time it is, dog! Thank you, God, for another day! Thank you, God, for another day! Thank you, God! God is great! All the time! All the time! Nobody wanna thank you, God! Thank you, God! Go!
Actually, I gotta go. Jada, you gotta Jada take it on. Give us our announcements and then get started. I'll be right back.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Big Games BS here on Friday, January 16th. This is your first time at the show. Welcome. And if you're wondering why it's called Big Games BS, it's because we bring the good, the bad, and the BS of the sports world, especially football, to your screens, eyes, and ears. First things first, I'm going to discuss our NCAA segment. Going to have a lot of talking points surrounding FSU football and the transfer portal. Going to look at the transfer portal in a bigger scope before looking into some quarterbacks who are staying at their respective schools. Then we're going to dive into the NFL, talk about the Jags and the type of money moves they need to make this off season, some coaches, some players. We're going to look at Hard Rock as well before getting into our BS or busting food review segment. So we're going to come back to these points once James comes back, but we're going to start off with some FSU talk. Now, I know everybody is confused about what is going on between the Desir twins and with FSU. They went in the portal, and then recently it came out that they took their name out of the portal. But once they took their name out of the portal, they announced that they plan to return to FSU. So, according to Hayes Fawcett, elite true freshman twin brothers Mandrell and Daryl Desir will return to Florida State in 2026. This is not the only defensive player who's set to return to Florida State by way of rescinding their name through the transfer portal. So, everybody, for all my FSU fans in here, we know how much we love the Twins, especially since they signed to FSU before this past season. We looked over their tape. Bad twin, if you will, was really high on these Twins, and he was a true freshman All-American, true freshman on-3 All-American. Mandrell was, I'm sure Daryl will get an All-American later on down the road, but we're happy they're getting that All-American status in that FSU Garnet uniform. So this is great news for the FSU trenches, courtesy of Tony White, the defensive coordinator. And these are some dogs from down south on the team, although I do not know what possibly could have happened with the entering the transfer portal and rescinding their name situation, but I can only speculate that this was just a money issue at hand. They were trying to bargain, get the bigger bag for themselves. And we talked about their agency as well. You see, they got them tagged in the bio, LAA Sports Entertainment. And I don't know, if it was me, I wouldn't trust an agency who has loyalty above all in their bio. That's just me, man. But hey, who knows? But more importantly, the Twins are back in the FSU garnet and gold jerseys. Now, everybody in the chat, I need you to spam your thoughts on the Twins returning this upcoming football season because they're a big young anchor in our FSU defense. And like I said, this is just going to be a money situation in terms of them putting their name in the portal, then them rescinding their name once again. But huge shout out to FSU, the new GM, the athletic director, and their agents for letting this happen because we definitely need this as well for that FSU program. Not one twin, both twins. So huge shout out to the Twins and FSU on making something happen. Hopefully, this season can be a little different than last season in terms of wins and losses, but these two dogs are going to continue to get better with time as well. And thank you, Bert, for providing the perfect transition because I mentioned while we were talking about the Twins that another defensive player was returning for the Seminoles, and that is defensive tackle Kevin Wynn. He posted this on his X account saying, quote, "I will be remaining at FSU. Go Noles." Excuse me. So it looks like our young talent is returning to FSU, and I'm glad that the new general manager could get into the heart of the trenches, especially when it comes to our young pit bulls on the trenches who have shown some promise for sure. And I'm glad we can continue to work with Juju and with the Twins to bump up our D line to be the best in the ACC. I'm excited for Win to return for the 2026 season. His huddle was very promising coming out of high school. Definitely a dog on the football field, making some plays, a force to be reckoned with. The snaps he did get, I was content with. I was happy. Was a freshman, so not too much to expect, but from the results I saw, was happy that he could have that transition from high school to college. Not as great as the Desir twins, but obviously they're really good, and Win isn't too far off as well. Hopefully, with enough of that Tony White defense, with enough of those reps, with enough of those practices, we can see Juju, aka Kevin Wynn, do some great things on that football field. So I'm glad we got the chance to retain two studs at FSU. Well, technically three studs. My bad. I got to count both twins, but huge shout out, like I said, to the GM again for doing his due diligence, man. Our GM has had a lot of experience ranging from the NFL to college, everything in between. And we are treating this like it should be treated, like a business. And it looks like business is being made over in the 850. So huge shout out to these two defensive uh, additions, or I guess they're not really re-additions, if you will, for the FSU defense. So huge shout out to them as well. Now, FSU defense is on a roll because we have signed the Southern Miss transfer linebacker Chris Jones. The former Ole Miss signee totaled 133 tackles this season. A lot of fans of FSU football were happy with this transfer portal addition. I have to second those general thoughts as well. 133 tackles this season. Man, he is not afraid of running downhill and attacking that ball. Something we need in that FSU defense. And all I'm asking for is that he can just wrap up his tackles, please, and hit the gaps. That's all we need. That's all we need. Hit the gaps, wrap up your tackles. Everything's going to be easy pickings for FSU. But super excited to see Chris Jones in that garnet in gold. Hopefully, this will stick by the time the season occurs and starts. And I'm lucky enough to have him join our squad. So I think this is a great pickup for FSU. Middle of the field, our second level of the defense last year was definitely atrocious. Our whole defense was atrocious, but especially watching that linebacker unit was something painful. You can't really win with linebackers who aren't aggressive, who won't hit the holes properly, and who won't tackle. So hopefully he can change all of that and continue to just be a dog because 133 total tackles. He's not no chump. I can tell you that for sure. So shout out to Chris Jones, man, doing the right thing and signing with the 850, aka Tallahassee Seminoles. And then more news came out regarding another linebacker. This coming from an ACC school, and that is North Carolina transfer Makai Gabayer. So he's totaled 112 tackles, 2.5 sacks, one forced fumble, and 3 passes defended through 3 seasons. So FSU added another linebacker to the mix, although his production wasn't as great as the Southern Miss linebacker in terms of total tackles this season. He still put up some numbers as well, some good numbers you would like to see. Coming from North Carolina in the Bill Belichick dilemma over there, he's coming to FSU, the 850. Another addition for the defensive unit. Shout out to Tony White and all the defensive recruiters recruiting their butts off for the Seminoles. I'm safe to say that the defense in terms of transfer portal additions is definitely much better than the offensive transfer portal additions for the Seminoles this season. So I hope there can be some equality in terms of greatness on offense and defense. I just hope the offense, if we do decide to get some transfer portal guys, we can get some guys who, like Coach Kurt Signetti said, have production over anything. Definitely want those workhorses for FSU. Definitely need the versatility from these players that they bring on the field. But nonetheless, shout out to the defense for getting those transfer portal guys in there. So, man, defense definitely outranking the offense in terms of transfer portal additions for the FSU Seminoles. And let's see where this goes from here, guys. We're going to keep you guys updated on the mix, and we're actually going to be putting a pin in this conversation and come back to it, do a little 360, come back to this in a little while. But we're going to keep on talking about the college world as well. So shout out to Yahoo Sports because they place this post on their X account courtesy of Nick Bromberg. And I wanted to share this with you all just to hear your thoughts, your opinions, and for you to just get in some insight on the transfer portal winners and losers in the early window of January. So, winners so far, this should not be surprised. If you know, you know. Texas Tech, Texas, Louisville, Indiana, Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech recently getting excuse me, James Franklin from Penn State. No surprise there that he is winning in the transfer portal, according to Nick Bromberg, him and Virginia Tech, since he was a master recruiter at Penn State. That's one thing you cannot knock James Franklin on is his recruiting ability. He managed to get those guys in PA, produce some major dogs in the NFL. No surprise that many people want to play for him in VT. Just sucks that he's in our conference on one hand in the ACC, but on the other hand, if he's getting these dogs to the ACC, getting more eyes on the ACC team, then get more viewers and ratings and for the ACC conference as a whole. So it's a little double-edged sword, if you will. But Texas Tech and Texas, no surprise there that oil money hits different. Indiana, everybody's loving the Kirk Signetti train and wants to get on that squad as well. But Louisville, a little dark horse, if you will, not suspecting Louisville to pop up on this list. But we have the losers list as well. And Colorado sits on top of this list. I know a lot of people will question this move by Nick Bromberg, but I think Bromberg put the Seton transfer portal situation at the top of the list for the detriment of Colorado. Excuse me. He is one of the top prospects in college football. I've also seen some news that Seton is likely looking to go to Texas as well. No surprise there with that oil SEC money. But the Colorado Buffaloes have added some talent as well for their squad. You have another Big 12 team, too, actually, with Utah and Iowa State. Iowa State's head coach actually took the Penn State job from James Franklin. So a lot of those players transferred from Iowa State to Penn State, if you will, following their coach. Alabama, the Kalen DeBoer era hasn't been panning out so well for the Crimson Tide. I know after their BTA session against Indiana in the college football playoffs. I guess players lost hope in the DeBoer era. So we're going to be doing sorry, my bad. Just read a text. We're going to be continuing to update you guys on the transfer portal as well as some other players. And we actually have Tennessee rounding out this list as well. So I just want to give you guys some updates, spur some thoughts in your mind with the transfer portal as well. So I thought this was an interesting graphic courtesy of Yahoo Sports. But guys, we got two quarterbacks staying at their respective schools we wanted to touch on. First is John Mateer. So John Mateer is returning to Norman next season. Two in the one in the hand is worth more than two in the bush. Just want to put that quote out there. But Oklahoma QB will return. He did deal with a hand injury during this season, definitely cut his stardom short, might I add. And no surprise that he's going to be returning to the Oklahoma Sooners to boost his draft stock up. And we actually have another quarterback who is staying, but this one kind of shocked the sports world because Dante Moore announced he's returning to Oregon next season. Moore was projected as a top draft pick in this upcoming 2026 NFL draft. So before the Oregon and Indiana game, Moore was projected as the number two quarterback to be taken in the draft. But with this news right here, coming after the loss to Indiana, a horrible BTA session, might I add, Moore announced he was returning to Oregon next season. But there is some confusion in terms of quarterback because former Nebraska quarterback Dylan Raiola committed to Oregon as well. So it looks like Dylan will be taking that backseat role to Dante Moore since Dante Moore's coming back. I'm not too sure if Raiola's agents knew of Moore possibly coming back to Oregon because if they knew Moore would come back, I doubt they would sign Raiola and have him sit behind Moore, but I could be wrong and we'll see how that goes. But if they do sit, if he does sit behind Moore right here, would not be a surprise because Moore was a top projected draft pick in terms of quarterback. But man, he does go to Oregon. Look at the the duck patch on his left shoulder. Oregon is pretty much Nike University, NIL, Nike image and likeness, if you will. They have a ton of money, and it's no surprise that anybody who plays for Oregon will want to play for them another year and get some bread, especially if you're a highly touted quarterback like Mr. Dante Moore himself. I've been hearing crazy figures, but there's no confirmations yet on how much his NIL payment was. But for Dante Moore, no surprise that he wants to get that Oregon Phil Knight bread. So, hey, can't be mad at you, Dante, although the league is right there and you would have probably been the number two quarterback taken. Bomani Jones said it himself. Would you rather get millions of dollars to live that college life in Oregon or millions of dollars and go to the Jets? So I'm pretty sure Dante Moore had to make that decision, and him and his agents definitely looks like they did the right thing and got that college money for sure. So shout out to Dante Moore for doing his thing out there and getting that cheddar, man. Keep stacking that paper, man, for sure, for sure. For sure. So we're gonna run through these topics right quick to finish off the show. We're gonna give you guys some updates on the NFL. We're gonna have our BS or Bussin' segment, but we're gonna just run through these topics right quick. We have a little short show today. So let's actually start with the Jaguars going from the college to the NFL. So first things first, Jaguars made a big move on the defensive side on the ball. So Jaguars are moving from secondary coach Ron Miles, as per Josina Anderson. He has been with the team since 1990, or excuse me, he has been coaching secondary, since 1993, where he started with Washington. But since then, he's been in the league for 9 different organizations. So the defensive side of the ball for Jacksonville was great. Was one of the top teams in takeaways. Had the best rushing defense, and they are one of the best in terms of attacking that ball. But in the terms of passing defense, if you will, there was a little bit of flaws the Jags had to fix this season, especially with additions such as Greg Newsome from the Cleveland Browns. And we're just trying to figure out our defensive scheme, especially with number 12 right there going out this year. We did have high hopes. We still have high hopes for Travis Hunter, especially on that uh, offensive side of the ball. But Travis Hunter, according to Gladstone and Company, will still be playing both sides of the ball in 2026. I see we have a lot of players on free agency for the Jags, especially in terms of wide receivers. This is where it's important for Travis Hunter because we have Tim Patrick and De'Ami Brown who are going to be free agents this offseason. And if I was Gladstone and Company, I would not pay those guys personally if you expect Travis to come back, especially with the resurgence of Parker Washington, or excuse me, especially with the surgence of Parker Washington and with the little resurgence of Brian Thomas Jr. this season towards the end of the season. Looks like his confidence is getting back into him. Number 7 is getting the groove, catching the passes. And I think Travis Hunter can be a great third or fourth option realistically because Strange would be above him for the wide receiver core for the Jaguars. But if I had to choose, man, I would want to see Travis play mostly defense on the cornerback side because I just think he has more raw ability at that corner position. Even though he can definitely make a guy miss, I would love to see Travis on that defensive side of the ball. So I mentioned all those players because we have some money moves to make for the Jags. The Jaguars have 43.9 million in dead cap in 2026 with these players: Tyson Campbell, Gabriel Davis, Darnell Savage, Saunders, Foster, Jefferson, Bigsby, Lacey, Prince, and Robinson. 43.9 million in dead cap. Not the right move for the Jaguars, but the Wonder Boy is going to work some magic. I have supreme faith in James Gladstone. And if you know anything about dead cap and about cap in general, things can be worked around for sure. So I'm looking to see how the Jaguars can mitigate these risks right here for the season. And we are going to move on from the Jaguars to Jim Harbaugh. So, for all of my Ravens flock out there, your former coach has found a new home, and your OC is probably gone as well. So, right here, John Harbaugh is finalizing a deal to make the Giants head coaching. So, John Harbaugh is the new Giants head coach after they fired Brian Dable. And it looks like he's going to be bringing Munkin over as well from the Ravens staff. But he's going from Baltimore to the bright city of New York, or New Jersey, if you really know. But Harbaugh is finalizing a deal. I heard the terms were 5 year, 100 million, so around 20 million a year. And like I previously mentioned, Todd Monken is expected to join John Harbaugh as the next OC for the Giants. They do have Malik Neighbors, Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterboo, and they got AKA Spider-Man Brian Burns on the defensive side of the ball as well. I just hope he and company, Munkin, and even Harbaugh can change that turf field in MetLife Stadium because it's taken some souls out there, got bad juju on that turf field. I hope they put some grass in because I know New York and New Jersey can afford that, so shouldn't be an issue. I don't want to see Malik Neighbors or any other wide receiver go down with an ACL injury like that on the turf again. So hope they can make some changes because that would really bless my heart as a football fan because don't want to see Malik Neighbors go through that again. Definitely a dog out there. Malik Neighbors was one of 4 rookies last year to have over 1,000 receiving yards, joining Brock Bowers, Lad McConkey, and Jacksonville's own BTJ. So all in all, shout out to Harbaugh for getting another job and for getting $100 million contract, because man, that is great. For the wild card round coming up, excuse me, for the divisional round coming up, the Seahawks will face the 49ers in an NFC West showdown. But it looks like Sam Darnold is limiting the Seahawks because Sam Darnold has been added to the injury report with an oblique injury and is questionable for Saturday's divisional round game. So, Ari Meroff said Darnold told reporters he felt something in his oblique during routes on air Thursday and didn't want to push it, so he did rehab instead of a full practice. He fully intends to play, but is listed as questionable. Now, the biggest knock on the Seahawks this postseason would be the quarterback play. The biggest flaw in terms of the Seahawks is the inconsistency of Sam Darnold. They have one of the great defenses in the league, and they have the best wide receiver in the league in Jackson Smith and Jigba. But there were times when Darnold proved that he could win you games, but he could also lose you games as well. So this was a big point for the Seahawks. And with this news right here, Drew Lock is their second string quarterback if need be. Hopefully the Seahawks don't want that to happen because they don't want Drew Lock getting some snaps in the divisional round against the 49ers, a tough team who fail to lose. I don't know how the 49ers keep doing it. Brock Purdy and company are winning. They're eliminating teams, and they're looking to play a Super Bowl in their home stadium. So hopefully the Seahawks and company can get through that. But I think Darnold will try and thug this out because he doesn't want to miss his opportunity, especially playing a division opponent in the divisional round. Couldn't be better. So just want to give you guys an update on the Sam Darnold situation and dilemma. And speaking of injuries, we mentioned Fred Warner earlier this week and showed a video of him being cleared to practice. But Kyle Shanahan says Fred Warner won't be activated this week. Well, let me backtrack. I don't know if he's necessarily cleared for practice, but I remember looking at the video of him running routes and catching some passes as well. And he looked like he could hold his own, but that's with no pads and nobody else around. But Kyle Shanahan says Fred Warner won't be activated this week. He had hopes of returning for the NFC title game if San Francisco makes it that far. If they beat the Seahawks, they'll advance to the title game. But it looks like Fred Warner will be sitting this divisional game out with his injury. And it's a difficult situation if I was a coach and if I was John Lynch, the GM, because although Fred Warner is a top all-pro linebacker, when you got injured, we made it this far without you. And I don't know if I'm the coach or the GM, I want to jeopardize that flow because you can't verify that if he comes back, the team will do as good. You just can't. You just can't because you never know how things work out because somebody took his spot and somebody's been performing. And if you mess up that flow, it could have some repercussions you might not have been aware of. So it's a very difficult situation when you have a top player like this wanting to give his all, wanting to play, but you have a flow of the team and you only have 1 game to 2 games to 3 games left in the season. So is it worth risking your body for 1 to 2 games? Fred Warner is going to say yes every time. He's in the playoffs. Stakes are high. Things mean more. But if you were GM, you'd probably be in a difficult situation too because would you start the linebacker you're paying a lot of money to, the dog out there for the sake of optics? Are you going to go with the squad who has been exceeding your expectations and been killing it in the playoffs in terms of offense and defense? So it's just a difficult situation for like the coaching staff and management to think about, just some of the things the squad has to think about in terms of these great players. But Fred Warner, he is not going to be activated, so he doesn't have to worry about that this week. We're going to go from one NFC team on the West Coast to the NFC team on the East Coast, and that is the Washington Commanders. So this is a look at the Commanders' new stadium plan for 2030. I don't know if Donald Trump is still demanding them to name the stadium after him. But anyways, Commanders unveiled the renderings, for a nearly $4 billion stadium, according to Adam Schefter, via the Commanders. So take a look right here at the RFK site. Looks pretty fire. Looks pretty good right here. They just posted these renderings, just a couple pictures on their Twitter account. Nothing too fancy, but excited to see that new $4 billion stadium be built in 2030. 2030 is going to be here before you know it in 4 years. So definitely excited to see that as well. Shout out to SF Data Niners because they post the most insightful graphics in terms of your favorite NFL squad. So these are the offensive play calling tendencies for each team during the 2025 season. So it splits it by motions, screens, play actions, no huddles, and RPOs. So let's take a look at which team calls the most motion plays in the NFL. And it's looking like the Atlanta Falcons with 66, or excuse me, it's actually San Francisco with 68.5% of their offensive play callings are motions. If you guys are not aware, motions are great for the offense because they signify if the defense is in a man or a zone coverage. So they're very important for an offense to decipher man or the zone. And it looks like Brock Purdy and company use that more than anybody else in the league. Jaguars, no surprise there, use 60.1% of their offensive play callings with motions. No surprise if you were keeping up with Liam Cohen's offense this seasons. We definitely utilize motions a lot, and that 60% is telling. Screen percents as well. Take a look at this. Denver has a 7% that's tied with the most, or excuse me, Pittsburgh with 8.3 looks like it's the team with the highest screen percent right there. And then it's Tennessee with 7. It looks like Denver with 7 as well. Play action. LA, the Los Angeles Rams with 20.5. No surprise. Matt Stafford and company knows how to dial you up. No huddle. Washington Commanders with 60.9%. And RPO, run pass option. Kansas City with 14.3 and the New York Giants with 12%. So just wanted to give you guys some insight on the offense and play calling tendencies from weeks 1 through 18 from this past season. And if you have seen your located your favorite team on this, let us know if you were surprised by the offensive play calling tendencies they had. So we're gonna keep on moving on. We're gonna have a quick show. Got only a couple things left for you all, but this is a post courtesy of Fox Sports NFL of the AFC and NFC championship odds as we head into the divisional round, courtesy of FanDuel. So for the AFC squads, you have the Patriots leading the pack with a plus 200 odds, meaning
Hey.
if you bet $100, you would win $200 in profit,
Oh, boo.
which means you would have a $300 payout because you put the 100 down, you have $200 in profit. Your total would be a $300 payout. And with the second place odds, you have the Denver Broncos. Then you have Josh Allen and company, and then the Houston Texans. So on the other side, the Seahawks actually have lower odds to win their conference than the Patriots. Seahawks was plus 115. LA Rams plus 165, Chicago plus 600, and San Francisco plus 1,000. So, man, looks like if you bet your money on San Fran to win the conference, looks like you're going to be getting a nice payday. So, just wanted to give you guys an update on the odds courtesy of FanDuel. Now, this post was made yesterday at 1 p.m. So I don't know how the Sam Darnold news would affect the Seattle Seahawks odds because it definitely would shift those odds, in my opinion. But if you guys are in Florida, make sure to check out Hard Rock because that is the only legal sports book in Florida to where you could actually make and bet on these, not make, where you could bet these odds. So shout out to Hard Rock, the official and only sports book in Florida. They need to give us a sponsor, man. They just need to give us a sponsor already. And if James was here, we normally do the parlay builder, so we don't want to leave you guys hanging. We're gonna do a parlay builder right quick of this upcoming week in the divisional round. So Bills and Broncos in Denver. Whew, This is a hard game. And if I had to pick who's taking home this game, I gotta go with the Bills, man. I gotta
Yeah.
go with the Bills because last week, I mean, Josh Allen showed you why he's him, why he's the reigning NFL MVP. Came into Jacksonville, walked over our trap, took over our trap. He's playing in Denver. Denver, if you guys are not aware, is very high in terms of elevation, and it's definitely a struggle for athletes to play in Denver in terms of fatigue and just terms of being short-winded. So I know that definitely plays a part in the Denver Broncos versus everybody aspect. Their home field, home nature advantage is one of one. But nonetheless, I trust Josh Allen and company more than I do Bo Nix on terms of offense. So hopefully the Bills can do that, but still mad Jags lost. 49ers and Seahawks. This is an odd one with the news of Sam Darnold, but they're still favored minus 350 to beat the 49ers. So I'm going to go with the Seahawks because, man, they've just been so good all season. And then Texans, Patriots. I'm going to go with
Look
the
at that.
Patriots. I mean, I'm going to go with the Texans on
Hey.
this one. I'm going to go with the Texans. I'm sorry, Miles.
Oh,
I'm going to go with the
I
Texans because
thought he believed in us.
the Patriots, they did have a cakewalk schedule. I'm not gonna lie. And this
Yeah.
Texans defense, this is just I haven't seen anything like it, man, in terms of just a four-man front. They have the two best edge rushers in the league with Daniil Hunter and with Will Anderson. They have great linebackers, great secondary. Although CJ Stroud did have 5 fumbles in his last game, recovered 2 of them.
That
Or
shit
excuse
seems
me,
almost
recovered 3 of them, lost 2 of them. He has to really step up big against this Patriots defense. Everybody on this plate right here, they have a great offense and great defense. They wouldn't have made it this far if they didn't. So Stroud really has to step up in company uh, against the Patriots defense because, man, 5 fumbles isn't going to cut it as you move deeper into the playoffs. And then lastly, you have the Rams and Bears. This is a tough one, but the Rams are favored to win this game. And I got to go with the Rams on this one. They've been here before. Matthew Stafford's been here before. This is nothing new to him. Caleb Williams and company, they've had a great year with first-year head coach Ben Johnson under their belt. And, man, the ball has been rolling for the Chicago Bears. They knocked off the Green Bay Packers in an NFC North wildcard showdown last week. So they're looking to bounce out the Bears, the Rams are, and head to the conference championship. But I have my faith in Matt Stafford and Puka Nacua for sure. So if you pick these teams, $5 will turn into $48. So that's a $43 profit. Or if you bet $10, it'll turn into $86.43 in profit. So those are my picks. I don't know if you guys are following my betting expertise, but that's just my thoughts on the game as well. But that's all I have for today. And now we have our big games BS section where we just bring the scope of the conversation outside of the typical football world. And we're doing our BS or bussin' food review segment. We like to close out our show with our BS or bussin' food review segment. And today we have a good one for you guys. If I can get it to load, but it looks like my Twitter isn't loading right now, which is strange. But let's see if it will load right quick because I want to leave you guys off on a good note. But looks like Elon and company are tripping. My Twitter isn't doing the best right now, but sorry about that. We couldn't get that loaded for you guys. But all in all, we enjoyed you guys for listening to this quick show to bring in this weekend. And if you guys aren't doing anything on Monday, please check out Big Games BS. We're going to have another episode on Monday, hopefully before the national championship game between Indiana and Miami at the Miami Hard Rock Stadium in Carroll City, aka Miami Gardens. If you know, you know. Then thank you guys for listening to the show. Appreciate it. And Miles is going to take us out. See you guys. Thank you.